Ladies and gentlemen, you know what it is. Hip Hop Mike here at Studio Square Recordings with a special guest who is fucking up everything in this game, everything in his site, going crazy. My man Abe is in the building.
What's up, Mike?
What up, bro? You're such a super low-key dude that busts the biggest moves ever. Like, it's crazy.
I like being low-key, you know? I really like that. I mean, it's my personality, too. I can't do it, you know what I mean? And I wish I could. I envy people that could, but I got an awkwardness about me. Like, when I turn up, it's just weird.
See, I feel like people that make moves at the level that you make moves, they're all crazy on the gram, posting pictures of celebrities, showing off all the cool shit that they buy.
Yeah.
How do you get into this position? And for people that don't know what you do, can you please explain? Because I don't even know if I fully understand everything that you do.
Yeah, so right now I'm the head of A&R and Artist Development at Entertainment One, and E1 Music for short. And it's a full-fledged independent record label, and I'm just basically the head of A&R and Artist Development over there.
And you want to let them know some of the artists that you guys have over there?
Wow, like the roster ranges from legends like Game, Brandy, K. Michelle, Little Kim, to newer artists like Blueface, Chief Keef's Glow Gang, Ledfo from Chicago, everybody from 100 ENT, which is like True Car, Coyotes, BSF, Juicy J.
The list goes on and
goes
on.
Yeah.
So I met you through TT Torres, who is assistant program director at Hot 97, my old radio station. And one thing I know about TT is to impress her, you really have to be about some shit. And when you first started coming around, that's exactly what it was. You was about this shit. You always made sure that everything she needed done and then some was done.
Yeah.
Where does this journey in music start for you, though? Like, was TT the first job you had in this game?
Yeah, I mean, like coming up, it was trying, because I'm growing up in the Bronx. I always wanted to be a part of like rap music in some way, somehow, right? I wasn't gonna be a rapper, but I knew I had the skills and wanted to be an executive. I admired like the big time executives. Like I really fucked with like on doing the research on guys like fucking Russell Simmons and Dame Dash and Kevin Liles and Lear Cohen and Jay-Z and the Biggs, you name Irv Gotti, like any label executive, L.A. Reid, you name the list goes on. Puff, for sure, Puff. I admired them as label executives, so I would geek out about it, and I'd read like the inside of the books on the albums I buy, and like who A&R'd this or who did this and that, and I do my research and wanted to be like them because I knew I wanted to be a music executive, and when you're younger, you don't know what that means until you're actually in it. And you realize, oh, this is what you have to really do. It's not cute.
Well, what was it that attracted you to it? Because I mean, obviously, some of the guys you mentioned are very flashy, but other ones are very reserved and just business oriented. What was it for you that you always knew executive, not rapper, not something else?
I mean, that's a good question. I just love the culture, right? I love hip hop. I love rap. Everything we do growing up in New York is hip-hop rap culture, right? We see that shit everywhere. You see it on TV. You see it from the way we dress, from the way we talk. And even if you're a pop artist today, you're inspired by hip-hop music.
Straight up.
It's the truth.
It's the biggest genre in the world.
And it's the most important. I would say it's the most influential, most important genre in the world. And when you grow up in the Bronx and it's all and it's infectious and all around you, I knew I wanted to be a part of it, but I wanted to be behind the scenes. And what got me to it is being able to work closely, creatively with artists, and that's really, really. I knew I was like, all right, I want to work in the studio with artists and kind of put the pieces together, right? I didn't want to be a producer because I didn't have the patience as a kid to learn like a guitar or something like that, or learn the piano.
Pro Tools is a bitch too.
No, it is. It's not easy. Now, growing up in the studio and being with artists, I've learned it. But growing up, I didn't have the patience for it or whatnot. But I knew I wanted to be creatively involved with artists, whether it's like even designing a cover art for your album or like, you know, photo shoots and etc. But I knew I wanted to be a part of it no matter what.
So before meeting TT, had you done anything music related? Like,
so there was like the scene in New York, and you know this, Mike, like because you're a little older than me, but you've seen and you came up heavy in it, where it was that blog era,
Okay.
That blog era of rap where shit started bubbling and you can curse, right?
Yeah, of course. Go ahead.
Shit just started bubbling and MySpace was becoming. I was in high school in MySpace and all these artists started busting the scene like crazy. Like you talking about the J. Cole's of the world, you know, grabbing that early mixtape, the Wale's, the Kid Cudis, Asher Roths, like the list goes on.
So many.
Anthony Hamilton,
Drake, bro. Like Anthony Hamilton,
right,
Major.
Right. These are names like
Charles Hamilton.
Oh yeah, Charles Hamilton. Sorry.
Both. Anthony
right?
Hamilton and Charles.
Crazy, right? The Hamiltons, not to play. But that scene was so thick and like fucking. It was just a different moment in music. Like there was like this youthful resurgence in it, where it was weird because it was so dominated by these big superstars. I finally started to relate to these artists a little bit more, and I find out where they were performing at, right? Whether it's like some underground, you know, cafe in the West Village somewhere, and you catch like J. Cole on a microphone one night, and I remember catching Wale at some, I forgot what club it was, but it was in New York at the time, and you know, trying to sneak into these venues and events, and then as they started getting bigger and bigger and bigger, you know, it became these artists, and then slowly the blog era introduced me to want to work with other artists, right? So I started going to even smaller events and identifying talent that I wanted to work with. And you guys were champions of some of the guys like the Trey Tizzies of the world.
Yeah, a lot. I mean, Cole, I remember when Cole was doing tons of shit with Hot 97 before it blasted off.
But you guys were championing a lot of these guys with the Who's Next shows.
Oh, yeah,
and,
for sure.
And I was studying Hot heavy. Like, I'm a Hot 97 geek when the way I used to study you guys, like, and the names of the people in the building, but I knew I had to show up to even, I couldn't get to the Coles and the Wale's and the J. Cole's, I mean, you know, you name it, those guys of the world, but I knew if I identified the artists a little earlier and try to like work with them, and that's what I kind of did. I went to every event, every open mic night, I found a dope artist, like, hey, let me work with you. Sometimes they'd be like, fuck you, I don't need you.
I mean, it's part of the game, though.
It is, and then I did it, and then as I was in college, I realized, you know, I can't do it by myself. I need a reputable name to be a part of, and I need to learn more too. So that's when I applied to Hot and got the internship after I got turned down from an internship at I applied for an internship at Rock Nation and just like didn't even look at it.
That happens, man. Like, I mean, I hit up everybody from Hot 97
yeah.
very early on, and it's like Rosenberg's the only one that wrote back.
That's what's up.
Then, you know, fast forward, I'm sure you've met everybody at Rock Nation, everybody at all of these labels. But how did you connect with TT? Was she the person you interviewed with, or how do you end up being in a room with the assistant program director, who's the most well connected, if not like, you know, the biggest boss?
So you know how like the internship program at Hot works. So like you apply, and there's a group of us that come, and we stay there for like 2 months or something, and they rotate the next group of kids. Like a semester, you spend a semester there, right?
The different departments.
And I was so upset when the different departments, and I was so upset when I found out I had to go to different departments. Right? I was like, fuck, I want to be in programming. I want to work with the program director, and music director, right? And at the time, I think Ebro was no longer program director. Pio had just became the program director, and TT had just been there for a few months.
It was like a whole new regime.
Yeah, it was a new wave, and that's when I just came in. And in the interview process, you know, you have the head of Hot 97 HR, and you have all the other people sitting there. And I remember Pio being there, and I'm like, oh, that's the new program director. And I knew I had to get cool with those guys because I didn't want to be on camera. I didn't want to be at the radio, and I didn't want to be a personality. I didn't want to be a DJ, but I knew I wanted to be around the people who kind of more behind the scenes.
Yeah, the movers and shakers that get shit done.
Right, and I talked to labels a lot more and stuff like that. So it was I spent my first week was in sales.
Okay.
Where they,
boring as hell.
Boring as shit.
A lot of Sprint, a lot of Metro PCS.
A lot of Excel sheets.
All right.
Right. But I never took it for granted.
Nah, you've learned a lot in any department. I've worked in a lot of different departments before ultimately going on air, and I learned a ton in promotions, a ton in sales.
Yeah. And I learned a lot there. And what I would do is I'd go for a walk around the building just to see what's going on and stuff like that. And then my weekend in programming, I saw TT. She had just walked in, and I introduced myself. And I was like, oh, she goes, where you from? She's from the Bronx. She goes, oh, I'm from the Bronx. TT originally is from the Bronx.
Yeah.
And I was like, cool. And I was like, when you have a minute, I'd love to tell you what I do, you know. And we just chopped it up. And I did the same thing with P.O. and TT. And I didn't force it on them. I was like, and then after spending that 1 week with her, she just started sending me to do errands and stuff. Yeah, fuck yeah, I'll go. You want me to go where? To go get tickets? And that's the first time I met you, by the way.
Okay.
I think she sent me to go get tickets. I feel like it was a Yeezy show or something like that. And you were going to pick up tickets too for yourself to one of the concerts. I forgot what it was.
Always running around.
Yeah. And it's funny because I didn't know she was already calling me her intern, which was a big deal for me.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
she's busy. She's like somebody that has her hands in so many things that I can't imagine all the places you were running around to.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how she does what she does without an intern.
No, she got a lot going on.
It's crazy.
Like, but I didn't know I thought she just didn't identify me as anything. But she had said something to you that I was her intern, whatever, and I was like, you were the first time I was validated for like, oh yeah, I am her intern. You know what I mean? Like I felt like that was.
I was like, you TT's intern?
I was like, fuck yeah, TT's intern. What
Here's
you
the
need?
tickets.
I guess yeah, right. That's what it was. It was like it was that feeling like, oh shit, yeah, I am her intern, whatever. But like I said, it's only 2 weeks in the promotion area. I did everything I could for her, and I just made myself available. And I shut up and I listened, and I just tell her a little bit of what I did. And I'll put her on game of what I thought was cool. And she was listen. Sometimes you don't know she's listening. She ever do the thing where she'd be on the computer and you'd be talking to her and you feel like you're talking to her or not? She does a lot of that.
It's radio shit,
It's
though.
radio,
Multitasking.
Right? Multitasking. And we just started vibing. And my 2 weeks was up. I told her, hey, listen, I'd love to just spend 1 hour a week with you. And she gave me that 1 hour. I want to return 2 hours. And as my internship was over, and I remember it was my internship's over on my birthday. She had a Friday night show. She still has the Friday night show.
Her and Trends.
And she's like, why don't you just come to my shows every Friday? And if you rock out with me, and she clear as day, she says, just roll with me for a little bit, and I'll get you to where you want to be. Because I already told her my goals and inspirations. I told her, listen, I don't want to be in this building. I love this building. It's legendary to me.
Yeah.
But I want to be in A&R. I want to be at a record label. And that's what I wanted. I didn't ask her for anything. But she told me, she said, if you fuck around, stick around with me, roll with me for a little bit, I promise you get to where you got to be. And I'm signed, sealed, and delivered from that day.
She's so great for that too. Like I gotta big up TT Torres
she's
because
my sister. Like I love her.
Yo,
love her.
So few people in radio really take you under their wing. Let alone ask you, how can I help you reach your goals? What are your goals?
Yeah.
TT is somebody that she'll reach out and always make sure that even if it's not benefiting her directly, but it's gonna help you get into a better place, that she encourages it. One of the few that hit me up after Hot and was like, yo, how can I help? Like just checking in. And
that goes miles.
Yo, for real, and it's rare, but it also, I think, is why she's such a good judge of character and how to put somebody on like you who's never gonna make her look bad.
Yeah, and I made sure I did that. I made sure like, she's not only she a personality, but she's probably the most powerful woman in radio across the nation. Probably the biggest radio station in that genre. But you talking about like most powerful women in radio and one most powerful woman in music business, she's in that list.
She connects dots, bro.
She connects
and not
dots.
For nothing. I gotta hit her about coming on the podcast.
She has to. I mean, like
it's crazy.
She knows how to do shit, and she can. You'd be surprised on who you got to get to, and she'll make that call right away, right?
Yeah.
And that trust, as I got with her, and as she let me come on Friday nights, let me access to her network. And one thing she always told me is, you got to protect your network. And the people confuse. Us, right, what we do now, and you might, same thing for you, same thing, I say this all the time, is I'm not being a dick, I gotta protect my network. We gotta protect our network. Because we work hard for this shit, right? My contact list on my phone is probably the most important shit to what I do. Same thing for you. Who you gotta do when moving call, we gotta protect it. And that was one of the first lessons that she taught me. She said, and as I got that, she gave me the trust to have access to her network, which is
everybody,
right? And she'd invite me to the most random things because, you know, I drive her everywhere and, hey, come upstairs, we're going to the studio, you want to come up? I'd be like French Montana and Puff in the studio. I'm just saying, oh shit, I'm in the studio with Puff. Puff just shook my hand.
Yeah, being a fan of, like, the actual the executive.
Tell me about it. Like, and I'm just sitting there and you best believe that whole time I shut up. Like, I'm just sitting there. Like, not even, like you said, like how I am. Not a photo, nobody knows this, but I know. And I was there, and that felt like that. Those moments in learning and being around her is what got me and grew me and whatever. And at the same time, I have a certain youthful energy that she might need or have use for.
Yeah, well, y'all complement each other well.
Like there's certain things that, because she's such a busy and multitasking woman, she might not be paying attention to what's bubbling here or whatnot. And I'd be like, yo, TT, this should be on your radar. Oh, where? Let me hear that. Oh yeah, that's definitely on my radar. Boom, 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 and makes certain rotations. This DJ's playing it out of nowhere and stuff like that. Or TT, streaming is killing you. Right?
Yeah.
Like, radio is amazing, but streaming has got its own genre and its own, and Hot should be paying attention to what's happening in the streaming world, right? And at the time I was at Hot, it was, the streaming had just started changing, becoming a thing. Like 2016, right?
Yeah, with like playlisting was just starting out.
And juggernauts. You're talking blog era. This is the streaming era.
Yeah.
You're talking about juggernauts of like multi-million plays in a day. Like before you couldn't track that back
at all.
Day. You bought Get Rich or Die Trying. You played that in your car and that was it.
Oh, that got at least millions of streams early.
If that was streaming and people's cars had to check how much that shit was streaming. Billions. But now we have access to that, and it's not the 50 cents of the world. It's the kid from behind his computer who just figured it out.
Straight up.
It was just a little weird, but he figured it out and became monster. So I started teaching her about that and understanding that, and we bounced ideas back and forth, and that was our relationship until it was time for me to find where I found a niche and the opportunity to be at a record label. And she didn't say don't go.
Mm-hmm.
That's not.
Which I commend her a lot for that, because a lot of people again would try and be like, I need you, what do you, and it's like, you had been around for a little bit, but not necessarily the longest time, where it's like for her to give you that opportunity and respect that you were taking that opportunity, I think says a lot to her character.
Yeah.
Definitely hope to have her on. But when it comes to you making this transition, how does that opportunity come up?
Like I started with the new artists emerging, streaming worlds and all that. I started paying attention to all this and started analytically understanding it to educate myself, because people and this goes for anybody who's trying to be an A&R, who thinks they know what's popping out next. It happened to me. I thought I knew, but I didn't know until I had to do the right research and understand shit. I began to educate myself, and I took a thorough dive on what's really popping, right? So I would just reach out to random artists and see what the temperature's like a Tyler Yahweh, who's now like a huge superstar, right?
Did you set up that first Tyler Yahweh interview?
No, I didn't, because
or maybe my boy Ryan. I had met him very early, and I remember specifically you speaking about him early on. I didn't know if you'd set it up, but
I probably not. But
I think you put me on, low key.
It really, man, that's what's up. But I was reached out to this because he had a song bubbling on SoundCloud, and the Slum God, he was associated with that camp and whatnot. And I was kind of, TT had to connect me with another label who I would go in once a week and consult on the A&R side for. I'd go in once a week to this label, and I'm like, yo, these are the hottest artists this week. And some artists, it's not cool, and some artists, nothing really came out of it. But in that list was like Tyler Yahweh's and Young T and Bugsy, who have the biggest hit last summer with Don't Touch.
Yeah.
I was trying to get Young T and Bugsy to sign to a record label in the States 3 years ago for a record they had called Gangland, which was like stupid.
Crazy.
And it was just like finding those niches, and she would put me on and introduce me to certain people, but it was my job to execute after that. And I had a bunch of meetings with a bunch of different labels, but the best thing she said was like, Hot's not the place for you. And a job had opened up at Hot. And at first I was upset. I was like, how come I can't get this job? She goes, this is not for you. Right now, this for what you want to do, this is not it.
It's tricky. Hot 97 is a whole nother thing, like when it comes to trying to navigate outside of like being on radio, because it's hard to grow there if you're not trying to be a personality. Like if you're behind the scenes, you could really be behind the scenes forever.
Correct.
And if it's not behind the scenes the capacity you're looking to be behind the scenes in, because at the end of the day, you could influence like somebody like TT who's open-minded and wants to hear about the artist, but a lot of DJs, they do what you do, find their artist and support their people, Yeah,
I mean, even if you are behind the scenes, P.O. and TT were in front of the microphone first.
Yeah,
right. Those
true.
people were in front of the microphone first, and TT still is in front of the microphone.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have that, and if I wanted to become a program director, music director, I would have never been respected because I was never in front of the microphone. So how can I ever relate to a personality or a DJ if I've never been in front of the microphone?
It's tricky,
Right. So that's why the label reps that would come in are always kind of like massaging. Plus, label reps would come to me too, right? I'm TT's assistant. Yo, this record's hot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'd be like, all right, I'll let you know if I give it to her or not. If it's dope, it's dope. But with such and such from this label said this is dope. I don't think it is. Take a listen. Or I'm like, yo, TT, this label has this artist. this is dope.
This is dope.
Right?
Word.
And then the who's next stuff started bubbling. But yeah, I mean the best thing she did was say go when the opportunity came, and she guided me through that process, and I landed a job at E1 Entertainment One, being an assistant to the being an assistant to the president of the label there at the time.
Amazing.
Yeah, and one of the things we talked about Puff was I blew him away with my A&R research that I had. I said, listen, I want to be an A&R. He said, oh, cool, I'll be my assistant for a little bit, and then we'll transition you to full-time A&R. And he was blown away with the artist that I was showing him. Whatever. He actually called. It's funny. Alan Grumblad. He has a long history of being a music executive.
Good Google
him. He said, "You're like the Puffy from the Bronx," and that's like.
That's a big statement,
right? And listen, was he exaggerating? Maybe, because I don't think I'm Puffy, but anyway, there's only one Puffy.
I mean,
never be that.
You got a roster, bro.
And we were growing in and we're trying to be there, but
some of artists that are actually have worked with Puffies. I'm just saying.
Yeah. But I did that for a few months as an assistant, and then coordinator of A&R, and then now head of A&R. So it's like
it's amazing.
The whole journey from hot to there. Yeah.
So I don't know how much you could speak about, being the head of A&R, what your vision for everything is, but how has that experience been now finally hitting this role that you've looked forward to your whole life, and then how do you evolve from there? Because you're constantly moving forward in everything you do, bro.
It's not easy. And I encourage everybody to understand that this shit ain't cute.
Straight up.
No matter what you do in the music business, it's not cute. We think about it like that. It's like, oh, I work in the music business, blah blah, and that's why I try to avoid it with the cameras, because I want people to understand that about me.
Yeah.
I love this so fucking much that I'm smart enough to understand this is not cute. It's not cute. This is fun shit, right? Talking about it and listening to music. If somebody told me when I was 10 years old I was going to get paid the money I get to listen to music and get my opinion on it and be in the studio and hang out with artists and hang out with hip-hop mic and talk about music, I would be like, fuck yeah, that's my career in the next whatever years, right? But it's bigger than that. It's understanding the whole business as it is in total, right? Yeah, I'm an A&R, but I know I've learned marketing. I've learned streaming. I learned money.
Straight up. Well, you said it perfect. Understanding it as a whole, it's something that constantly evolves. It changes every day, and you have to kind of figure out these things, and not a lot of people do.
Yeah, people think they're going to make millions. I'm going to become an artist, I'm going to make millions. People think they're going to be a record executive, and they're going to be like, oh, platinum records are fucking cheap. It's not. You know how hard it is to recoup $1 million deal?
Oh my gosh, I don't, and I can't imagine. I would never want to be in the position you're in, just because it would stress me the fuck out.
I talk to rappers all the time, and I'm an independent label. If I had $1 million to give an artist, and it makes sense, of course, right? You're the proof is in the pudding, and a lot of people talk shit about metrics and all that stuff. I'm not a metrics A&R, but I'm also smart enough to use the metrics to my benefit. I think shit is dope. Your music is hot, of course, that's the first step, right? But back in the days, even before stream, what you do? You cut a demo, find somebody, bring you to the office, you perform in front of the office.
Straight up.
The deal's right there on the side.
Yeah.
Right? Now what is it now?
Now you have no idea.
No idea, because I don't know. But what metrics tell me is I go by first name. It's dope, right? Boom, you're in the door already. If I like your shit, it's dope. You're in the door. But then I have to understand the value of it, because to protect my job and to protect the label, how much of a financial investment is this? And do you understand how physically responsible you have to be for your career?
Yeah, and a lot of deals are gambles for the label. That's the thing that drives me crazy when artists start complaining about the label, because it's like, these guys, people like yourself, do this for a living. Literally A through Z. How does this make sense to give you guys an opportunity but also protect ourselves? And artists come in with that same mentality, and I say come in to stress come in,
right,
because it's like your mentality is, I know what my cloud is leveraged at, I know what I'm worth now, and my knowledge has gotten me to this point. But now, the same way you have to learn how to adapt to make things happen for them, they need to learn how to adapt to make certain things happen for you.
Correct.
And when you come in with the mentality where it's like, I'm trying to make things happen for me, I'm trying to make things happen for me, and then you get to this point where it's like, okay, I'm taking this money because I'm trying to make it happen for us, to make things happen for us is a different approach
Totally.
than to try and just spark it on your own and get to that point.
Most traditional deals are 50-50 split, right? If you make 50%, you make 50%, I make 50%. You make money, I make money. The label makes money.
That's it.
But also, we're investing in you, right? Like, he said, if Mikey said, listen, I want you to build, I'm going to hire your services. I got this dream house, right? I have the money for it, but you're going to build the house, right?
Straight up.
You built this house that's amazing, and I told you, if you build this house for me, we're going to rent it out, and you get to have 50% of what money we make for the rent. Doesn't that sound like a sweet deal?
Sounds great.
Because you have the skill that I have the money to build it, but you have the actual skills. Let's grow it together.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what if you got mad later on and be like, man, I built this house. I should take all the money.
Bad news.
It's for everybody. What do you mean? I invested in it first, and I gave you the shot, and like, who else was going to give you that platform or whatever, But there are artists who got the biggest leverage in the world.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's the thing.
Rare.
It's it's rare, I think, because artists need to look at the reality a lot of the times. Like, a lot of people get mad at the labels, but it's like, in reality, if you're an artist, you've seen a million artists before you, like, if you study the game at least, that have their moments.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the big picture, it's rare that an artist becomes a Cole or a Drake or, somebody that's a staple, a Lil' Kim that could do this forever. Where the majority of artists, they don't figure that out. And if you look at the big picture, why do these people figure it out? Because they constantly evolve. They learn how to work with their teams to do things outside of their comfort zone. It's not just a straight up like, I made this hit song and I'll keep making hit songs. It's like, and it's crazy because they really believe that. Like, I've interviewed a ton of artists on their way in and on their way out that, they feel like a certain entitlement, and it's like, they want to turn around and, again, be mad at the person who gave them the money to build the house because they built the house. But it's like, they built the house, but it doesn't necessarily mean the deal was for you to just live in it forever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, you have to really self-reflect, I think, any artist is watching this, and realize that, the same way that you've put in your hustle, that you've just told your story, like, everybody has a story. And just because you're maybe not the face or the person who built the house, your time that you've put in to have these relationships, for them to take it from a place of being in the street to being in something that beautiful, it's a dedication that is matching their dedication.
I mean, I tell them, like, we've got the same journey to a degree. Like, you want to be an artist. I've climbed up in the same way, and I want to do artist-friendly deals where the artist is constantly benefited in the outcome of it, right? I try to make sure that the contracts are as clean as possible all the time. I try to make sure that everything is kosher when it comes to the deals that we make, and that way they can have a profitable career, right? And know how to make money, and I try to educate them as much as I can, because I would never want to tie an artist down for like
well, you're also
hours.
I'd say fresh in this game enough that you still have an understanding of that. And I think I have more faith in you than a lot, because there's so many people that are so established that they've seen their money just deplete. Like, they've built the houses, and then the artist is just living in it and not paying rent, nothing. That I could understand getting bitter over time. But I mean, a big part of why I want to talk to you today is because I think what you're doing with E1, with Entertainment One, is just the future of what deals and what labels and what they could provide for artists. And you see a kid like, even like what you're doing with Blueface, bro, is like so different and fresh than what a lot of new artists get, opportunity wise, that I think it's just incredible. And what you're contributing to the game is super special, man.
Man, my man, thank you.
Nah, love. What's to come? What are you focused on next, and how can people approach you and find you, not just find you?
So my new thing is artist development. Is focusing on artists that have small organic foundations, because I can't, it's like a big rat race to compete with other A&Rs and other labels, but I'm identifying artists at the super early mark and investing in them and growing them organically, focusing on digital marketing, focusing on creating hit records, and then I slowly giving them that cultural relevance, passing them to the right people, getting them in front of microphones with you and other artists like that, And then the last step is to kind of make them look like superstars, right? And grow them and groom them. So that's my biggest thing right now. We have big albums coming out, a big Juicy J album, which is freaking amazing.
Crazy, I can imagine.
Juicy J album sounds great. And our Latin artists are bubbling. Bryant Myers, Audrey Nix, big Latin artists.
You speak Spanish? You understand
that
word?
I understand Spanish, yeah.
God bless you.
Thank you. It's a big world, and I'm really geeked out about that. And more international music to come, you know. I've been advocating for Afro beats, and the music's coming from overseas for years, and I feel like now the DSPs and the YouTubes of the world are paying attention to it, so I'm focusing a lot on that. And if people want to get to me, they just gotta be outside. You gotta be at these events. I know it's pandemic going on, but still shit happening, right? Be at the right studios, you know, be at the right events, and I'll be there more than likely. And then also, you know, just a quick little DM every now and then, just your music. You don't gotta give me a whole spiel. I don't need the backstory.
Straight up.
I need to tap in. Hit me with the tap in.
Tap
in, big
in.
bro. Tap in, big bro. No, just hit me with the music. Just a quick little thing, and if I like it, I'll get back to you. And then just be persistent. Don't be annoying or aggressive, and yeah, and then mostly on Instagram and stuff like that. You know.
No doubt. Well, I appreciate you so much, Abe. For
man,
real. Much love for you, bro.
Talking,
I'm excited to do this again fucking 5-10 years from now.
Do it.
Because I know what you're doing, bro. You're going to be one of the biggest executives this game has seen. Hip Hop Podcast, Hip Hop Mike, Big Up Studio Square Recordings. That's going to do it for this one.